Welcome back to our Commitment 2024 coverage. We want to catch you up on some of the congressional races in this area. This is the first congressional district, which is really in the north part of the state, a solid red district. And Doug LaMalfa has represented this area for a long time, since 2013. You can see with early results here, he is starting out with a commanding lead, 60%.
Yeah, not surprising there. Let's show you some more of those races right now. And this is District 3 here and how this shakes out right now. The incumbent there, Kevin Kiley, and his sophomore effort here, 51%. And Jessica Morse, not too far behind him right now with 47%. We'll talk to our experts about that coming up in just a minute. And again, Kevin Kiley, this would be his second term.
Okay, in the 4th congressional district, which is including parts of Lake County, Napa County, Yolo, Solano, Sonoma counties, you can see Mike Thompson, the incumbent, with a solid lead. Again, 42% reporting here. But again, this is another safe district, in this case, safe for the Democrats.
All right, let's see what we have coming up next here. We've got a different map here to show you. District 5 here, you saw the map, and here is what we have so far. Tom McClintock, longtime representative there in this district. That has changed geographically, but he is showing a lead right now, 56% over Michael Barkley, and who has 35%, and then Steve Wozniak, not that Steve Wozniak, at 9% right now.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching Tom McClintock because he has represented various congressional districts as the districts have changed.
Yeah.
But you can see a solid lead for him with 40% reporting. Let's go now to our political experts. And it's been interesting watching this Kevin Kiley campaign, because the Republicans do have about a 5-point advantage.
Right.
And that seems to be about what we're seeing as the numbers are coming in.
Yeah, and when he won the last term, he credited his seat as being part of taking the House for Republicans. And so Kevin Kiley, I think, has acknowledged some of the dysfunction in the House when we talked to him, acknowledged that things have not gotten done, really tried to lift up some of the bipartisan work he's done on the Press Act and other infrastructure things that he's trying to solve. But I mean, those numbers early on, and considering the conservative-esque turnout between him and Jessica Morse, that indicates that maybe this could be a really competitive seat that could help determine the balance of power in the House of Representatives.
I have to tell you, Ashley, as I watched your interview with Congressman Kiley, I was struck by the tone of bipartisanship when he really made a name for himself as a state lawmaker, as taking on Governor Newsom on every issue. And so it's been interesting to see his tone change.
Yeah, I mean, I think he sort of has to have that change in tone, given that the district that he represents is not only the largest geographically, but also considered pretty diverse, but fairly purple too. Still leaning slightly Republican, but I mean, still Jessica Morse is I mean, those two are very interested in infrastructure, water, protecting the Sierra, and other aspects that really mean a lot to those people. Again, that district running down the spine of California, essentially.
It is a huge district. Yes. Alexi, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when you are a representative of this district, you have to be a lot of things to a lot of people.
Well, and I do think that, to that point, it's interesting to watch the Kevin Kiley that you get in Washington, D.C. versus the Kevin Kiley you get on the campaign trail, because in Washington, D.C., he is a little bit of a bomb thrower. He's out there trying to block Julie Su, a former California state official, from becoming the Secretary of Labor over her role in, for example, the EDD fraud that happened in California during the pandemic. I mean, he's out there really opposing Biden and trying to prevent, California values from taking over the nation, right? So he does have these conservative credentials, and he's made a name for himself really as this outspoken person, and then at the same time he's back here in California trying to appeal to a wide range of voters, and so you can have a little bit of a split personality.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Alexi, about kind of the bigger picture as you're watching congressional races up and down the state, and just reminding people they're running for re-election every 2 years. So, you have some of these swing districts where you don't know what's going to happen.